The acronym stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. But when you learn what they're really like, it's more like euthanizing trafficked animals. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, now turn around and lay an egg on the glass. Ah, yeah.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact. And it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much! Today we are rejoining Zucca with the 4-H Chronicles. He stopped posting for a little while, then he came back, then I'm like, okay, I guess we should probably get into the thing and see how it goes. Zucca's 4-H Chronicles, the PETA files. And you can say that however you like. I'm going to choose to spell it out. ReddX's voice echoing from the wind. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make promises you can't keep. Zucca emerges from the tree line in the distance, the wind carrying dust and pulling at his now much looser clothing, including the Hawaiian shirt that is his staple.
Tommy Bahama, 5 million uncles can't be wrong.
As he draws nearer, it becomes clear that his weight is substantially less. Oh, you've been on a long personal journey. Well, it's good to see you back with the channel, my friend. And indeed, he says, friends, 'tis been a long journey. 9 months ago, apparently, since the last post. In that time, I and everyone else without a year's seniority were let go. I suffered a debilitating shoulder injury, and I committed to a weight loss journey that began at 449 pounds, and as of writing, is going on at 320 pounds, and won't stop until yet another 120 is shed. Giving up soda and sugar was much easier than I thought it would be, the traveler states. Wow, that is some exposition dialogue right there. I am glad to hear of your journey, though. That is outstanding. Kicking soda was an easy thing for me, too, although now I lean on coffee a lot more. It's unfortunate. Anyways, yeah, record scratch. But if you didn't come here to hear about that, because this isn't Party Demon Whoa or Has-Been Beard, shudder. Yeah, K-pop legbeard most recently. I do enjoy it on some level. It's just really fun to dig your teeth into an OP sometimes, you know? You are, of course, here to listen to our benefactor and host, ReddX, read my tale of fairground hijinks and intrigue at the hands of the worst non-profit ever, PETA. They are pretty whacked out, but it seems to get them attention, so they keep doubling down. It's insane. PETA is a textbook case of false advertising, says the OP. And definitely not ReddX Industries, don't sue us. And why you should look beyond the surface of any organization, no matter how lofty their name and stated goal is. The acronym stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. But when you learn what they're really like, it's more like perverts euthanizing trafficked animals. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, now turn around and lay an egg on the glass. Ah, yeah.
Yes, some heavy accusations levied. Are they true? Are they not? ReddX Industries lawyers have advised me I shouldn't make a statement, but yes. I won't name names, but there's a lot of other acronymed organizations around right now that say one thing and do another. One that comes to mind is run by the self-proclaimed trained communists. Oh, let me tell you something. It's easy to promote communism in a democracy, but try promoting democracy in communism, you know? It's not good. It's not a good idea. I'll accept almost every other political stripe, but I have to draw a line somewhere. All of whom purchased gigantic mansions for themselves with the proceeds donated by generous and well-meaning donors who thought that they were helping the downtrodden. I mean, that's the best way to make people spend money, right? When they feel good about it, then everyone feels good about it. So hey, subscribe to the ReddX Patreon because I love my patrons very much. Ironic, Palpatine. Hear me as well, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes snake oil salesmen don't even sell you a product. Again, like the ReddX Patreon I was talking about. ReddX patrons also get access to this brand new soundboard. It's an exe file. You can open it. Don't you trust us? And that's exactly what PETA does. They claim to protect animals, but in truth, they euthanize the overwhelming majority of animals that come into their rather dubious care. And that's not even counting the animals who are abducted by members of PETA. Yeah, we're totally gonna set them free, but we can't really set them free to inject with poison. Oh, why are you doing this? And that's not even getting into the advertisements that they run. Yeah, that's most of the reason why they're popular. They don't even have to pay for ad space. It just spreads by word of mouth because it's so shocking. Some are pretty down to earth, like a lineup of a variety of animals, and it asks, what is food? What is pet? Where draw line? But then you get activist women who parade in varying degrees of nudity with not food painted on their gazongas. I mean, technically it is food, right? Like, first and foremost, it's meant to breastfeed a child. It's inherently false. It's a ludicrous claim. This story is in regards to one group of PETA members who decided to grab my buns. Yeah, hold on real tight. Hey, phrasing, Don Archer. So let me regale you once again, dear readers, and listen. Oh, and as a bonus treat or tardiness apology, inspired by the dodgeball dominator, the locker room Lundgren, the irascible, indomitable Irish pirate, I shall lend my voice to the tale alongside ReddX's, and I shall also sing. Well, that makes it a lot easier for me. Where's the voice files? What the hell? Warning! This way lies rabbit napping. I don't mean napping bunnies, that would be adorable. I meant to say that logomorph larceny by lame losers lies this way. To further clarify, I do not mean bunnies in little robber costumes, that would also be adorable. I mean awful people stealing bunny rabbits. Yeah, this could be a pretty feels-heavy episode. A lot of the 4-H stuff seems to be, no? Normally I'd say, warm up those pipes, Red, but to quote the wise man Wayne, I'm feeling saucy today, my good man. I got this. All right, there it goes. Dramatis personae. Zucca, OP, master of ceremonies and helpless witness to the horrifying events that took place. 11 years old at the time and still in the midst of the oft-mentioned childhood trauma, but at this point, the source of misery had been extricated from the place of living and is starting a decades-long road towards recovery, specializing in the rabbit breeds Dutch, Himalayan, New Zealand, and English Spot. Google them. You won't regret it. I definitely don't regret it. That was amazing. I didn't actually do it. Mongoose. Zucca's younger brother and economist is friendly, cordial, eager to debate but not to argue, and hates communism with a burning passion. Yes, even this early in life. Kid's pretty based. Between watching that vintage Scrooge McDuck special on how money works to commanding heights, economics fascinated him. Was too young to be in the project, but hung out at the Rabbit Club to pick up pointers. Would go on to raise mini lops and fuzzy lops. Google them. You really won't regret it. Oh, I don't. It's so amazing. I still didn't do it. Wolf Mom. Zucca and Mongoose's mother raised a farm girl in a Texas small town who is so named because she's a force unto herself when she sniffs out BS, but is self-reflective enough to know if she's crossed a line. Mother of 4 nerdy boys, a cordial hostess, a dynamic group leader, and the leader of the Rabbit Project in our club. Personal hero of mine, as your parents should be. Uncle Iro. Uncle Iro? I'm gonna have to look it up or everybody's... Nah, fuck it. I'm going with Iro. Not actually our uncle, but if you know of Uncle Iro from Avatar: The Last Airbender, then you know the energy this man exuded. A gentleman of Jewish descent, and the supervisor of the fairground's small livestock paddocks, and a personal friend of the family. Passed away 3 years ago. Rest in peace, old boy. Side note, how good is your Mako impression, ReddX? I don't watch anime. I don't know what we're talking about right now. Lydia, named after the Skyrim NPC, sworn to carry your burdens. She's Iroh's daughter, and sworn to carry his. Friendly, sunny, and always eager to help kids starting their 4-H careers, she's the highlight of many folks' day. Oh my god, it's still going, dude. The buddies, let's do it! Maybe I've gotten impatient in my old age. The Burger Beard song used to take its time too. We all gotta take the ride together, alright. Duchess, a female Dutch rabbit who was my very first and became the grandma to a long line of show rabbits that endures to this very day. Reference image. Here's a good looking rabbit. Nice straight lines, I'm sure that means something. PETA Polly, ringleader of the PETA pricks that came to the fair, doughy, squinty-eyed, and porcine in visage, has accomplished the seemingly impossible achievement of morbid obesity on a vegetarian diet. Actually, that's super easy because sugar is the chief culprit. English legbeard suggested voice. I phased out the English accent on the legbeard voice. I'll do it if you make her say British things. How about that? PETA Penny looked like Meryl Streep's skeleton with a thin veneer of alabaster and wore heavy winter clothes in a California summer. Could barely speak above a whisper. Yeah, that's a vibe for sure. PETA Pan. I like it. That's my favorite. Looks like Sheldon from that impersonator nerd show that we don't talk about. A skinny fellow in his 40s who wears childish clothing. Looks like he never really grew up, hence the name. Whiny beard voice advised. But then who's going to get the regular neckbeard voice? Let me do the thing. Let me do the thing. It's the thing that I like to do, so let me do it. The setting, the Santa Barbara Fairgrounds. Generally better facilities than the Santa Maria grounds. The fair and expo was always fun, and between raising animals and the rides, it was a youngster's paradise. And the place that I would be shot in the torso 7 years hence. What's that? Dead X anime eyes emoji. The troop is ready. The stage is set. The path of Zucca 64, the 4-H Chronicles, the PETA files. Star Fox 64 stage start chime.
Good luck.
According to what would become an annual tradition, rather than commute the hour there and back again from Santa Maria to Barbara, we were instead boarding at the home of friends that we had made in the 4-H club. Convenient! Morning saw us have a waffle and sausage breakfast before heading to the fairgrounds where we had, the night before, situated our long-eared livestock, and we were feeling good about the day. I haven't ever taken a mulligan. I record a piece of crap, I'm like, just put it out, it's fine. It'll sink to the bottom. The rabbit judging wouldn't take place until later in the day, so we wanted to make sure that our rabbits were ready. This would be the day 2 big traditions would commence. One, I would be asked by Uncle Iroh to be a tour guide of sorts to people in the rabbit barn. 2, security checkpoints at the fair entrances and exits would be instituted. Yeah, because now we got to deal with a bunch of maniacs. Both of these stemmed from the same event. I had set up a grooming table to take care of my bunny brigade and had started with my Dutch doe, Duchess. As I groomed her, people would wander past, asking questions to which I would eagerly and enthusiastically answer. I'd been crammed into a tight shell by the subject of my abuse and was dying to socialize with people, so it rolled off pretty naturally. I enjoyed sharing rabbit facts, giving the people answers, and helping them learn. I want to learn some things. Share with me some rabbit facts in the comments, thank you very much. It was then that they arrived. 3 people, armed with stern expressions and notepads, eyes casting judgment around the barn. The biggest of the 3, who weighed more than the other 2 combined, leaned down as I groomed my blue Dutch doe, Heidi.
Well then, what are you doing to that rabbit?
Polly demanded, in a commanding tone, her breath smelling like the lowest tiers of the fairground food. So everything but funnel cake is what that means. Oh, I I stammered a moment. I'm grooming her. This is Heidi, and she's a blue Dutch. I'm getting all the dead fur off of her so she feels more comfortable and looks nice for the show. Would you like to pet her? I asked with a smile. PETA Polly retracted with a grumpy noise, but PETA Penny leaned in, running her fingers along the white streak of fur on Heidi's face between her eyes. Oh my god, she's so soft, PETA Penny cooed. I like that voice. Yep, that's why I keep her well groomed. When they groom themselves, they can have hairballs like cats, but they can't handle it as well as cats do, I explained. PETA Pan began to reach, but PETA Polly swatted his hand with her notebook.
Don't encourage this,
she snipped. I'm sorry, ma'am, I quietly murmured, showing weakness and fear. Just the thing the orbular orsehole was waiting for.
Not sorry enough! Look at how awful these conditions are!
She proclaimed. What's wrong with them? I'll pass the word along to the supervisor, ma'am, I meekly offered.
Where to start? These pans are full of sawdust! They're filthy!
She bellowed. Don't the buddies love sawdust or something? I like sawdust. The smell, the feel, the taste. Oh, well, we clean and wash those every night, so there's no buildup of bad stuff. Sometimes twice a day, I helpfully chimed in.
Well, those worn-down wooden boards in those cages simply won't do. What kind of toy is that?
You don't know anything about rabbits, do you? They got chew. Their front teeth will stick out or something. OP says, well, they're not toys, exactly. They're there for the rabbits to stand on, to give them relief from the cage floor, and they're wood, so that they can chew on them to maintain their teeth at a healthy length. Since rabbit teeth, like their rodent cousins, continue to grow and have to be worn down to be maintained, I told her. It was so basic. Why would you not know that already?
And then why is this green hay in here and not proper straw?
She asked, grabbing a handful of alfalfa out of one of the tiny feeding troughs attached to a cage. Actually, ma'am, straw isn't very good food for rabbits. Neither is traditional hay. This is alfalfa hay, and it's much more nutritious for these animals, I helpfully informed, slowly falling back into my groove. Yeah, horsies love alfalfa too.
Why would you make them drink from these water bottles when you could serve them in cups that are more natural?
PETA Polly growled. You talk about paper cups? You can't be serious. The water bottle's reusable. It's way better for the environment. Whatever. Well, for starters, that would take up some valuable space. Secondly, they'll try to tip the dish over. Third, the water bottle's more hygienic. The water stays clean and fresh, I demonstrated by tapping one of the water bottle spouts. Hey, that's pretty neat, PETA Pan chimed, earning a glower from PETA Polly. Oh, man. Is there not room for us to enjoy anything here, Polly? Come on. PETA Penny kept scribbling in her notebook, glancing around and listening to me. So, are there any other objections? I asked. Wrong question.
Too many to count,
PETA Polly proclaimed, pumping pink fists in the air. That's good alliteration.
The conditions here are abysmal and inhumane. This is on par with the Holocaust. No, it's worse.
Are we sure we want to make that comparison? Are we sure we want to talk about this in a YouTube video? Especially with the state of the world currently. I'd say that Polly's being a wet blanket, but yeah, we passed that point by a mile now. In just a second. Pardon me, came an older voice from behind. But what is worse than the Holocaust? PETA Polly spun around to give a glare at Uncle Iroh, who patiently smiled.
This place is. I'm gonna talk to the manager here and get it shut down because it's inhumane and terrible. These animals should be liberated from these cages,
she bellowed. Why, so they can go get eaten by a hawk or an owl? You're so stupid. Young lady, if my grandfather lived in conditions like these at concentration slaughter Hinzert, then Schindler's List would view like a vacation film, Iroh said, his cordial smile remaining on his face. She about to get shut down. What are you gonna say against that? Not much you can't say at all. Somehow, Peter Penny paled even more as Peter Pan blinked. What now? He blurted. The SS concentration camp known as Hinzert. In Hinzert, prisoners were tortured, killed, and fed to dogs when it was too cold. And believe me, being on top of a plateau, it was windy and cold alike. My grandfather was a rail worker, and he was pushed into slave labor there. Half his friends died there, and he watched his cousin get shot in the back of the head because he dropped his hammer. I'm afraid I'm failing to see the similarities, young lady, he said, his tone ever friendly and cordial, which might be a relatively creepy tone to deliver that sort of message in. Peter Pan looked ready to faint. Peter Penny had almost thrown up. Peter Polly was turning as red as a ripe tomato, as numerous people had stopped overhearing Uncle Iroh's words. But if you really feel that way, by all means, my office is at the end of Barn 3. Come in any time. I keep a pot of tea handy around the clock, and I'd be overjoyed to listen to any input you have about the state of my animal barns, he magnanimously exclaimed. Yep, alpha energy. The PETA trio excused themselves, shuffling out of the barn, trying to make themselves as small as possible. Well, thanks, Uncle Iroh, I sheepishly murmured. Oh, don't mention it. I overheard you telling them about everything, and I've noticed lots of people have stopped to listen. You're really good with people, he told me, patting my shoulders. And much like myself, Zucca's using that to cover up a load of trauma, but hey, it's got its benefits. OP, the most extroverted introvert ever born, mumbled a non-committal, I guess. I encourage you to continue. It's one thing for people to just glide through and take in the sights, but if they learn something, well, I've always stood by the idea that people knowing more about the world makes it a better place. He gave my back a hearty pat. Don't let those people discourage you. You did splendidly. That's what the kids need, a little bit of encouragement now and then. I was still pretty shell-shocked, but his words helped salve the discomfort from earlier. I managed to relax again and get back into the groove of things, and come the rabbit show, things got frantic. Bunnies being transferred to the show table, eagerly awaiting the judges' appraisals, the PETA trio stealing rabbits from their pens. You know, normal showtime hysteria. Well, that seems like it should be somewhat of a highlight of the story. I was the unfortunate individual who witnessed it. I came back to the rabbit barn from the show area to find that Duchess was mysteriously absent. I panicked, looking around, verifying it was her pen, and then looking around some more, wondering if she tripped the latch and jumped down or something. I looked around to see Peter Penny stuffing a struggling Himalayan into her oversized winter coat, which looked much more bulky and wiggly. Hey, I shouted, something between accusatory and trying to draw attention. Well, it's time these PETA nerds get a taste of street justice. Peter Penny squeaked, putting the unhappy Himmy back into his cage, and she began shuffling away in a hurry. Mongoose dashed in, eyes wide in alertness. What's wrong? You were screaming. I wasn't screaming, I was yelling. You were screaming. I was yelling. Now I'm yelling, came Wolf Mom's bellow. What are you two fighting about? We're not fighting, Mongoose exasperatedly groaned. Yeah, no, I was yelling, screaming, shut up, yelling to get someone to help. That weird skinny lady stole Duchess and a bunch of other rabbits, I blurted out. Did they get away because of the sibling arguments? Lydia stumbled in, hearing the commotion just in time to hear the important part, grabbing her walkie-talkie off her belt.
Security, we got a problem. Several people have stolen rabbits in their coats. Cover all exits and look for suspicious behavior or signs of stolen animals,
she rattled off. I described them and she updated the security teams. Within an hour, I was asked to identify them and wanted Iro to back me up. He confirmed that they were indeed the people from earlier, and indeed, their coats with interior pockets that had drawstrings to tie off had been trying to smuggle a number of rabbits out and were loudly protesting all the while. That's world's dumbest criminal type of stuff, dude. If you're gonna be a thief, probably save the spreading of your dumb message for another time. You're really drawing attention to yourself, you know that, don't you? That just was returned to me, shaken, but not stirred, and gratefully safe. She went on to get Best Opposite Sex of Breed, and frankly, after the experience she endured, she earned it. The trio were charged with theft, and we sued them as individuals, as we'd been informed that PETA employs some vicious lawyers. Yes, they do. And I used the proceeds to buy some new show rabbits and put away for that college education that really went nowhere. We live and learn. Unfortunately, none of that trio are winning Best in Show for the human race, right? Up top, bam. The PETA trio's faces were distributed to the security team every year thereafter, and anyone with PETA iconography were placed under immediate suspicion, being closely watched. After the kerfuffle, Wolf Mom found the notebook that PETA Penny had been scribbling in, expecting to find notes about the condition of the place. Instead, doodles. She was drawing nothing but doodles. Yeah, I guarantee there's not much going on upstairs. Just stand there and draw something. It'll look like you're doing something important.
I'm doing it! Yeah! Yeah! Some of these!
Finn! And that's where this rabbit tale ends. With the bad guys fined and humiliated, the rabbits returned, and an auspicious start to a young Zucca's rabbiting career. I hope you've enjoyed the story, and hopefully I'll be able to get the next one written in less than 3 seasons this time. Here's hoping. Please, friends, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a comment to aid Al Gore's rhythms, as it means more traffic for our main man, Red, and it costs you less than a minute of your time. Yeah! And if you want to give me money still, there's the Patreon thing again. 3rd time I plugged it, all right? Patreon, please, thank you. Thanks to ReddX for continuing this journey with me. To you, readers and listeners, for giving us your precious time. And to Uncle Iro, wherever he may be. Well, I hate to tell you, but probably dead.
He used to break in our house and steal the TV.
But now he's dead.
You're worth it! And never forget, Zucca, out. Well, there's hammerings and all sorts of stuff going on near the end there. But we got it in just under the wire! I don't expect any big brain plays from members of PETA. Really, I think they joined up because they want to help and don't know how and sort of got indoctrinated into a cult that took over their life. Allegedly. Just allegedly, though. I do want to say thanks so much for hanging out with me today, friends. If you'd hit a bunch of buttons, like, that would be pretty cool. We also got some construction blooper outtakes. Can't cast silence while recording. God, that's the only spell that I need. Just make, like, a bubble inside of your silence AoE where, like, we can still talk. Is that how silence works? It's still going. It's still going. I gotta get out of here for real. If you'd like to hear a bit more Zucca stories, I got Burger Beard on the end card for you. It's musical too. You should enjoy it, all right? Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine.